Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wendy Huang, and from NIE, and I'll be sort of taking you through the event information this afternoon. Sorry, I'm a little sick, so please do excuse me for that. And Mr. Gee, please feel free to jump in if there's anything that I am missing out on. Okay, so again, welcome. And we are, let me see. Okay. All right, so here's our agenda for this afternoon. I'm gonna just do some introductions of the organizers, as well as you'll get a chance to let us know who you are. We'll go over the event, do a demo of the course that you'll be going through, learning to learn Python using this interesting sort of graphics output platform. And we'll talk about the how to submit your creative task. How do you get started with the course, and then take any questions and answers. Okay, so like I've already introduced myself, and then the organizers are Mr. Gee. Can you just say hi to everyone?
Hi everyone, welcome. Yeah.
Okay, and who are you? Can you just briefly say who you are?
Oh yes, I'm Mr. Gee. Yeah. Welcome again. Yeah.
Okay. And let me see, Dr. Bimlash, I think I saw you. Can you say hi? And maybe who you are and
give me a minute if you can hear me. Can you see me?
Yeah, can.
Hey, hi everyone. So I am Bimlesh. I'm a faculty at School of Computing NUS. Happy to be here and good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And I remember seeing Chin Lee, Miss Kerr. Can you just say hi to us?
Hello, I'm Chin Lee. I'm from NIE also, together with the organizing team.
Yeah, thank you so much. And then I'm not sure if the others are here, but Mr. Rizwan, Prof. Leong, Prof. Louis, Dr. Xiao, if you're here, can you just say hi? I'm not sure if I saw them, so. Okay, if not, we'll just move on. Okay, so in terms of the audience, obviously we don't have time for you to all introduce yourself, so I'm just gonna do this poll real quick. So on your screen, you should be seeing just a quick poll as to, who are you? Are you a student? Are you a teacher? Are you a parent? Or somebody else? Okay, so please just quickly, and that way we can just get a sense of who you are, and then I will display the results. Okay, seeing some answers coming in. We have about 17 responses so far. And there are 28 of you in here, so 29 now. I'm going to be closing the poll soon. Okay, so let me just share the results real quick. Okay, so this is these are the results. So we can see that we're mostly students here, mostly lower sec, some upper sec as well. And yeah, it's interesting. Out of the 17 of you that responded, we have about 5 who've never done any programming. About 4 over 20, 4 students who've had some programming, and then we have 8 who have programming in another language. Okay, so thanks for responding. Okay. Are you still able to see my screen? I'm not sure if I'm sharing my.
Yeah, it's on the event.
It's still. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just checking. Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so this year's festival is about 2 weeks, and again, it's targeting secondary school students. to learn Python using this interesting approach of visual arts, so graphical output. So this is a beginner-friendly course that was designed by Carnegie Mellon University, which has a very strong computer science department, and it's located in the US. You will have access to this course forever. So even though you may not be able to finish the entire course in the next 2 weeks, you can continue on your own beyond the 2 weeks. We are offering some incentive for you to work on it in the next about 10 days. So if you are able to submit a creative task, basically a piece of artwork that's created using code submitted through the platform, you can be eligible for a showcase and prizes. Okay, so what's unique about this? For those of you who have programmed in Python before, any kind of text-based, you're probably used to seeing something like this on the upper left, right? The code is written in text, and the output is also in text. Okay, but what's interesting about the platform that you can be using for this year's event is that you will see that what you type, the code is still in text, but the output is graphics. Okay, so that's what's different about this. Okay, so why are we doing this, right? So we find that this kind of interface might be more attractive to students who may not have been traditionally interested in learning programming. Okay, so graphics can appeal to a bigger audience, allow students to see creativity. You can be creative when you are doing writing your code. That's going to produce something artistic. You can still debug, and if you get an error, right, like you write a piece of code and it gives you a different picture or graphic that you didn't expect, it's very obvious, right, what the problem is. Okay, and it's fun. Okay, and with this you're going to have to decide for yourself. Okay. All right, so just to kind of get you inspired about some of the projects, here's a showcase from other students who've gone through this course. Actually, I don't know if I'm sharing sound. Let me just check that real quick. Okay.
Is the video being played? Because
no, I haven't started video yet. Okay, I just wanted to check to make sure that the sound is shared. Okay, all right, here we go.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. So I hope that was that is kind of some evidence, right, that this can be a fun experience for you. Oops. Sorry. Why does that always happen? Okay. All right. So as you maybe have seen in the video, there are 4 units in this course. It takes about 40 hours to get through everything, but for this event, you just need to complete at least one unit, unit 1, to submit a creative task. However, you can do more if you have the time, okay? The units have to be done in order, okay? So you, if you're gonna do, if you wanna get to unit 3, you're still gonna have to do 1 and 2. Now the projects in the video increase in sophistication according to the unit number, okay? So you notice that in unit 1, by the end of unit 1, you can draw with shapes, but it's not gonna like, there's no animation, it's just gonna be shapes, okay? Shapes, I mean, but there's a lot of interesting things you can do with shapes, right? There's also gradient, there's text, and all kinds of different, but you'll see for yourself when you go through the course, okay? Okay, next. All right, so this event is called a Computational Thinking Festival. And so what is computational thinking? Okay, now this is just one framework that's suitable for learning computational thinking through programming. Now, programming is not the only way to learn computational thinking, but it is one of the ways, okay? So that's why this particular framework was chosen. So there's like 3 kind of components to computational thinking. So one is concepts, okay? So you can see that some of the concepts that you might be learning in the course would include, and for those of you with experience, you're kind of familiar with some of these, right? Like loops, conditionals, sequences, parallelism, data structures, operators, and so on. So these are things that that you will be covering, that the course will be covering. Now the second set is problem solving. Okay, so and I know there's a lot of words here. I'm not going to read through everything, but when I demo the course, I will kind of explain a little bit as I'm working through some of the examples on how I'm applying computational thinking in those exercises. Okay, and for CT perspectives is really about like how are you developing as a person, right? As you are going through these exercises, how is it helping you feel? How's it developing your creativity, your kind of perseverance, ability to cope with challenges? Okay, so that's what the perspectives mean. Okay, all right, so now is the fun part. I'm going to show you what the course looks like, and we're going to walk a little bit through some of the exercises. Okay, so let me share on the other window. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so right now you should be seeing like the login screen. If let me know if we're not okay. Is this correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, very good. Okay, good. So the link is academy.cs.cmu.edu, but we will be giving you all this information later, or your teacher will be giving you the information depending on how you're registering for this event. Okay, so you're either registering through your teacher or you're registering individually. So sort of you will be getting different directions depending on how that was done. But anyway, you will be once you get your account information, however the methods that you get it, you're gonna log in. Okay, and you will be assigned to a course. Okay, so the course you should check. It should say CS0 second edition. Okay. Now, when you get started, it'll look something like this. Actually, it will look something like this, okay? So unit 1, you're gonna see that it's made up of 6 different parts. And you notice that, 2 is not available yet, right? So, so really matters like you can only unlock future lessons once you've completed, the earlier lessons, okay? Okay, so let's say, I'm just gonna, pick one of these, okay? I'd say this one, okay? All right, so you'll see on the left, this is sort of the outline for this particular lesson, which is on drawing a landscape. So usually the way that the lesson goes is that in the beginning, they'll give you a piece of code to run. Okay, and they'll ask you and then kind of describe a little bit about, what the code, so you get to run the code and maybe get a sense of what the code means, right? Just through running it and looking at the results. Then they will give you, some something to kind of investigate, like what the code means, right? So you can see, oh, this is the code that creates this circle, or this is the code that creates this circle, okay? And this particular lesson also has some, sections about, how to deal with errors, okay? All right, then there'll be some kind of practice, okay? So it'll take you to another screen. Now this one, I've already completed the answer, okay? But I'm just gonna reset it real quick so you can kind of see. All right, so let's say you're doing this checkpoint for the first time, okay? So say, remember that when you first open the exercise, you see the solution canvas. So this is actually the solution. The code in the editor draws a different circle and you need to fix it, okay? All right, so like I said, this part is a solution, but this is currently what this code does, okay? So this code right now draws this circle, but what you wanted to do is to draw this. So you're gonna have to fix the code in order to draw this, all right? And of course, obviously you have to go through the lesson in order to understand, what this all means, okay? Right, so let me just go back to this for a second. Okay, but let's look at a more interesting example, okay? Because that one is just like drawing one circle. It's actually very straightforward. You just change the coordinates and but let's look at this one. Okay, so here is here's what looks like a frying pan, okay, with an egg inside, okay? So so the prompt is that fried eggs, my favorite breakfast food. Let's start coding. So this shows you the solution. This is what you want it to appear when you get the right answer. But right now, this is what it looks like. Okay, so you can see up here that this draws the pan. Okay, so these two circles draw this black pan. And your goal is to draw the egg using the inspector to find information about the two circles. And the hint is, remember to check code when you're done, and you place your code here. Okay, so the solution looks like this, right? And you want to be able to draw these two circles. So what you can do is you notice that when I'm hovering over these points, I can actually get information about these circles. So this one, for instance, right, when I hover over the center point, you'll notice on the upper right-hand corner, right, there's some information about it. So we know the color is white and the radius is 80. Okay, now this again assumes that you already know what these things means, right? So so I'm gonna just go ahead and type this, so circle, okay? And the first two numbers describe the radius, sorry, the center. So it was 165, 235. The third number describes the radius, which is 80. And then the last one is the color. So fill is white, okay? All right, so I'm gonna run this, okay? Right, because remember, this is what I currently have, and I run it, and you can see I have the white circle, okay? So what I've done so far, right, is I've, in terms of computational thinking, is that I've, for the problem solving aspect, right, I've kind of realized that, okay, I need to decompose this into, three different, well, actually there are four different parts, okay? But the part that I'm responsible for is this circle and this circle. Also, the other thing is that order matters, right? Because you notice that this yellow circle is on top of the white circle. So that means I have to draw the white one first and then draw the yellow. So that's called sequencing, which is a computational thinking concept, right? So let's do the yellow circle, okay, which is center is 180, 250. Radius is, okay, 35, and fill is gold. Okay. All right, so now I run, and you notice that on my canvas, okay, now, so I can like kind of go back and forth and see, oh, okay, they match, okay? And then just to, then I could check, right? And then it'll tell me, okay, that is correct, okay? So that's an example of how you would do a checkpoint. Okay, let me go back to the course here. All right, so as you go through the course, you'll notice that along the way, there are these practice exercises. Now, these are a little bit more involved. I encourage you to do them. There are actually quite a few of them. So, you know, if you don't have to do all of them, but you should do enough so that you feel comfortable, you know, doing like with those commands, okay? And also the other good thing about doing the practice exercises is that they give you ideas for the kind of art that you can do. So let me just show you an example, okay? So here is, you know, you're trying to, let's say you're trying to code something like this, right? Okay, so right now, right, the way, all you have right now for the code is this, right? Draw the whole apple. So that's all you have. So you have to somehow get from this to this, all right? Now, they give you some hints here. Okay, so for instance, let's say we want to create a dent on the top of this apple, right? So how do we do that? Well, the hint is that the dent is a circle that covers part of the apple. Okay, so I'm just going to do the first part here, all right? So I'm going to check, I'm going to see, okay, like it seems like there's something here. Okay, there's a circle here that has a radius, sorry, that has a center of 220, and the radius is 50, and the color is white. Okay, so let's code that and see what we get. So circle, let me go back here. Okay, 220 is the center point. The radius is 50. The fill is white. Okay. So let's see what happens. Okay, so run. Okay, so you can see that, all right, I've made that dent, right? So you can almost have to picture that there's a white circle right here, okay? And then it's sort of cutting into this red one because it's, remember, red is at the bottom, right? So everything that comes after it is gonna, you know, be on top, okay? So again, we're looking at sequencing, order matters, and you also have to kind of decompose this this final object into like different, you know, shapes. Now, right now, all you're working with circles, okay? So we're still at very, very beginning. Later on, you're gonna see, oh yeah, let me just show you this real quick, because when you're doing practice exercises, after a while, you might be like, oh wait, what's the code for, you know, for a rectangle? What's the code for a star, right? So something that's really helpful is this thing called docs and colors. Okay, so this will give you documentation for the entire language. So for those of you who are a little more experienced with programming, this is really helpful. You can see what, okay, these are all the shapes that are available. And then they give you, you know, like all the different properties that you can use, okay, what's required. You can even run some code, right, to see an example. And they explain to you what all the properties mean. Okay, so this is, you know, sort of a you know, like a guide, right? So if you need that. The other thing is if you can also just open up the entire course in a new tab. That way you can go back to, you know, to something if you need to remember how it works. Okay, so it helps to kind of have the entire course open. The documentation, and then whatever exercises that you're working on. Okay. Yes, so I believe those are the, right. So unit 1 is really just about shapes, shapes and text and the various properties that you can specify to make them look certain ways. Let me see. Okay, creative task. Okay, so this is a part that that maybe those of you who want to get your projects showcased or, you know, really create something, right? Because if you notice the practice exercises, you're always trying to achieve like a certain solution, right? So you're trying to, you know, code it in such a way that matches what's expected. But the creative tasks are really an opportunity for you to, you know, take what you've learned and really make it something of your own. So, so let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so if I go to creative task, hang on, let me, Okay, so pretend there's nothing here. Okay, so when you open a creative task, right, there's nothing there. Okay, so you really have to just create this from scratch. So so just a quick thing, okay? You should only submit one creative task. Okay, so you want to submit the task at the end of the last unit that you completed. So if you only finish unit 1, okay, you should submit the task at the end of unit 1, which is here. If you finish units 1 and 2, okay, so let's go back to the course. So let's say you did 1 and you did 2, okay? So then you see the creative task here, right? So then you should submit the creative task for that at the end of the last unit, right? So you don't have to do one here, you do one here. All right, so the more units that you finish, the more sophisticated your project will be, but you should still only submit one, okay, project. Okay, so I don't want, so you don't need to submit a project for every unit. You only need to submit one at the end of the last unit that you finish. Okay, so now let's go back to this. Okay, so when you open up a creative task, again, there's nothing there. So let's say I just do something really simple. Okay, so I'm going to just put, let's say 30. And by the way, all these numbers will be explained to you as you are going through the course. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to put in some stuff. Pink, pretty sure pink is a color. Okay, so there it is. Okay, so you'll notice that it's at the coordinates are at 30, 40. The radius is 5, and the color is pink. So this is a terrible creative task. It's not very creative at all. But let's say I'm going to submit it, right? So I just hit submit, and then there's a warning, right? He's like, make sure that, because once you submit it, you can't edit it. Okay, so you should wait until you're really ready in order to submit it. It is possible to request to unsubmit it, right? So you can keep working. But since we're kind of, this event doesn't last very long, so it's better if you just submit it when you're ready to submit, okay? Rather than having to request to unsubmit. Okay, so then once I submit it, then then it's submitted. Okay, I think that's it for the demo. So let me go back to sharing this screen.
Ms. Wendy,
Yep.
there's a question in the chat that asks whether the debugger.
Oh, okay, the debugger. There is no, there's a debugger in so much as they give you an error if there is, if something isn't quite right, and so you can like sort of try to read the error message, or you can compare it to a piece of code that works to try to see what might be wrong. But I think I'm not quite sure. Mr. Gee, what do they mean by debugger?
I think maybe some of the more advanced IDE. Integrated development environment,
right,
that code Python programs in may have some additional features to help, for example, in auto completion or syntax highlighting.
okay.
But I think this is a web-based platform, so we are limited to what is provided.
Yes.
In the center interface.
Yeah, that's right. So so right now what feel free to explore, okay, explore the interface and see what you can find. Okay, so I'm not able, I don't have the time to show you everything. Okay, there's a lot here, but you're welcome to kind of explore and try to figure out and what would be helpful to you. Okay, are you guys seeing the slide that says course demo?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. Okay. All right, so I've already showed you how you submit the creative task in the course itself, okay? But there's also an online form that you need to complete, because we need to have a way to assess your project based on these kind of 4 criteria, okay? Which is like your concept, right? Computational thinking, programming and, and something interesting, like unique, that that you have that's in your project. Okay, so so the online form will look something like this. This is a draft. Okay, so this is not final yet. All right, but it will look something like this. So we will ask you to to complete something like this. There's a way to create a link to your project. Actually, I'll go back and show you how to do that. And which unit, right? So remember, one project, and then you just tell us which unit is the last unit that you completed. But here's the part where we want you to kind of reflect and tell us a bit about how you use computational thinking. There's a link here that goes to this page, right? So you can remember what computational thinking means in the context of programming. We want you to describe your artwork and then also reflect on what kinds of challenges that you had when you were programming. And then just sort of some reflections on how the experience was for you. Okay. Okay, let me just pause there. Oh, hang on. Let me show you how you submit the link. That's right. So before I forget, let's go back to the here. Okay, so let's say this is my creative task, right? I can get a link to this project by clicking on this share icon in the corner. Okay, so here's some options, right? I can share the Canvas link, download, et cetera. Okay, you're just gonna pick the first one, share Canvas link. Okay, and then you just copy this and that will give us a link to the project. But it doesn't give us access to the code, okay? Which is why we still need you to submit the project within the course, because that way we can see the code as well as like the final product. Okay, so. All right, so let's continue. Okay, next steps. Now, for teachers who want to manage their own students' accounts, either we will create a class for you, or I know some of you might have already created a class for your students. That's fine. The important thing is just that you need to add us into your course as a teacher or mentor. So, we'll be in touch about how to do that. Now, if you have not created a class yet, then and this is again for teachers, okay? If you have not created a class yet as a teacher, please stay back and we'll show you how to do so, okay? So at the end of the session, you can stay back and we'll help you set up the class. Now for students, right? Now, if you are registering as an individual, right? So in other words, you are not registering through your teacher, right? So you're registering just directly to our event. We will we'll send you an email soon, okay, right after this, that has a sign up link. So you can go ahead and, and create your account. You'll be added to the course, right? So we'll give you the course code, or you can just click the link that will fill in the course code for you. And then you can get started. And also if you didn't get the email or, or anything, if any issues come up, this is our email address. Okay, so just a quick timeline about what's going on. So this is today, right now. Okay, so we're going over the competition. I like to call it an event. Okay, then Wednesday, Friday, and next Tuesday there are consultations. These are optional. Okay, the purpose is that if you want to get some help or you have some questions about either something in the course or your creative project, you can sign up for these. Okay, so more information will be provided about how to do that. The deadline for submitting the creative task is on next Wednesday on the 26th of October. So again, an email will send you. There'll be a link to the submission form. And you need to submit it in the course itself. Okay, so two things, right? You have to submit it in the course and you have to complete the Google form. And then Friday at 4 p.m., we're going to have a project showcase and award ceremony, and that will be online, right, on Zoom. So, okay, so are there questions? I'm sorry, I'm just, you know, I guess I'm a little sick, and at this point I'm slightly feverish, but we'll do my best to answer questions.
Okay.
You can type in the chat. Yeah, you can type in the chat, or I guess they can unmute as well.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I think everyone should be able to unmute yourself if you need to ask your question
Yeah.
verbally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Otherwise, please feel free to use the chat.
Yep.
Okay, these are Singaporean students, right? So actually, when people submitted the registration, okay, the Google form for this session, we actually pick up some questions. So one of the questions was someone asked whether they can work in groups. Yeah.
So, okay. You are certainly welcome to help each other, right? To talk to each other about what you're working on. But I think to keep things simple, since the accounts are individual, right? So each individual is assigned one account. There's no like group account. We're just going to ask you to submit a project individually. Okay, so just to keep things simple. So one person, one project. But of course, you know, since some of you are know each other, your classmates, or you're, you know, working on this at the same time, please talk to each other. Please, you know, give each other ideas. Please share what you're learning. Okay, so all of that is okay. All right, but yeah, submit as an individual.
Yeah, thanks. So there's a question in the chat. If we make an animation, will there be sound?
I think for this platform, I don't think there's a sound. There are no sounds. Yeah, you're welcome. Are you competing with other schools? You are competing with students from other schools. Yes. Okay. So it's not like a school to school. It's more like just you're competing with other students, and these students are maybe from other schools. They may also be from your own school.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
We do not plan this to be an inter-school competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is more valuable will be what you learn out of this. And actually, probably if you want to think of it as a competition, you'll probably be competing with your previous self. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for that message. Yep. Will this be challenging if we have little coding experience? I would say no, because it's actually designed to be beginner friendly. So in fact, if anything, like for the people with programming experience, you might be a little bit bored, okay, in the beginning. But what I really hope that everybody gets out of this, right, is that whatever level you're at, you get to do something like creative, right? Something, you know, because you don't usually think about like, especially if you've already done some programming before, as something that's linked to doing something creative. I guess unless you've done Scratch. Okay, Scratch is kind of similar, right? You can create sort of games and graphics and animations and, you know, music, right? So this is kind of like that, but using Python.
So I think this can go a few ways. One is that if you are very new to programming, then you can explore what are some of the different shapes. But maybe in your mind, perhaps you have some idea of a digital art or animation that you actually want to realize. And then you can try to think about how to break them down into much simpler shapes, and how to integrate them together in some meaningful sequence, right? So actually, along the way, of course, we expect that students will encounter some difficulties or issues, right? But that is actually the most precious and valuable experience of learning programming, right? Because you know that things won't work, and then you try to determine the cause, and then eventually you identify what is the root issue, and then you overcome it yourself, and that is in itself a very fulfilling experience, right? So we hope that you can have this learning goal in mind, and at the end of the day, we believe that everyone will be able to learn something useful, right? Despite the product.
Yeah. Let's see. If I only have experience in microbit but not Python, would it be difficult? Okay. The course is designed for beginners. Okay, so it starts at a very simple level. Like your first thing is just to like draw a rectangle, and they guide you through like, you know, pretty like step by step, right? Like here's the code, run it, you know, see what it does. You know, what do you think the numbers mean? And then they really guide you from very, very beginning. Okay, you will get the account details either through your teacher. So if your teacher is organizing this for your school, you will get that from your teacher. If you're registering individually with us, then we will send you the information on how to set up the account and join the course.
Yeah. So the student who asked this actually is from Zhonghua, right? So your teacher, Mr. Calvin, has already set up the classroom for all the Sec 2 students. So in time he will be able to pass it on to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let me maybe I'll just drop. I mean, I'm assuming everybody who's here. Actually, I won't do that because that might be very confusing. Yeah. So like I said, you either sign up through your school or you sign up individually.
Yeah. So in the chat, actually there's this very important person, Prof. Yong Wai from NUS Core Computing, right? So he made at least two comments. One is that Carnegie Mellon is one of the top school in US in Pittsburgh in computer science, right? Then the other one is that actually maybe I should invite him to unmute and speak to everyone.
Yeah. Prof. Leong?
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can turn off the video.
Yes, we can see you. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Can hear you. Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I think it always give me great pleasure to work with people like Mr. Gee, okay, and of course with Wendy and other people at NIE. I think one of my goals is to see every young student learn computing, learn computational thinking at the very least, and learn how to apply computational thinking to everything they do, not just to writing code, but to math, to science, to art, and so on. Actually, in one of our organizational meeting for this event, one of the teachers invited a student to share his experience with applying computational thinking methods on an art piece that he did for a project. Okay, I think that is a good example, of the benefit of knowing computational thinking. So I think whether you have a lot of experience in programming or you are a beginner, I think of these experience, okay, as a starting point. Don't think of it as an ending point. I think you're not in here for a competition to win the prize. If you do, we congratulate you. If you don't, that also does not mean that you did not learn anything. In this lesson, we give you very simple tools, how to draw a circle. But we also empower you. You can draw the circle anywhere. You can draw it at any different sizes. Okay, you can put the center anywhere. Okay, including you can make it disappear by putting it somewhere that's off the screen. And these are interesting things to learn. You can do a square, you can put one in front of the other and things like that. And I think what you can create is limited only by your imagination. So if you can think of something, also, when you think about computational thinking, you saw the code that Wendy was playing around with. If you have created something nice, okay, and you've learned how to do it, then you can copy and paste a chunk of code and you can put that in a different place. Now, that's almost like be able to replicate the same object somewhere else, okay? And if you can, somehow coordinate them to, in some of the more advanced Python, okay, courses to get them to move around, you can have the starting point of creating your own games, okay? And another programming platform, Scratch, for example, allow you to do that, for example, okay? So I wish you all a lot of fun, okay? And so hopefully by the end of 2 or 3 days, you might have a lot of great imagination, thinking up new, okay, art pieces, creative art pieces they can do with all these. Okay, play around with the language because you see, you only seen examples of circle, but they are square, they are ellipses, they are triangle. Play around with those things. Okay, you saw in the intro, okay, video that Wendy gave you, ran through. There are so many things that all the other people did just with those very simple basic tools. Okay, all right. So I wish you all the best. Okay, thanks for the invitation. Okay, Mr. Gee. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks very much, Prof. Yong. Yes. So Prof. Yong used to organize coding competition for primary school students. Right? Yeah. So yeah, hopefully at some future occasion, if you come for our event Building Blocks next year, yeah, you can get him to talk to you at NUS School of Computing.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah. So back to you, Miss Wendy.
Great. Yeah. So, I mean, I think what, I think we really just want you to have fun with this, right? While learning something. I mean, your exams are over, this is really time for you to do something that is, that is creative and interesting. And yeah, so just please enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, then, please stop, don't do it. Okay. Yeah. You will learn to do that as you'll learn about the numbers in the brackets as you're going through the course. But I've already hinted at it a little bit, right? I mean, they seem to correspond to things like, the coordinates, right? The radius, and there's also a number of other properties that you'll be discovering about the shapes as you go through the course.
Yeah. I think be brave, just try different things, The advantage of this platform is you try some numbers, then you go to the other window, you see what comes out. Okay, you change the numbers, see what happens to them. Okay, all right. So the lesson to be learned here is to go explore. Explore means start changing things and things like that. You draw a circle with those few numbers, then you draw a square with those numbers and things like that. Okay, and the good thing is you're told what the thing look like, how many numbers you should put. Okay, then with a little bit of thinking, okay, that's where you can link to mathematics. You can ask yourself, how many numbers do I need to give me an exact specification of a circle? Otherwise, how do you talk about circle? Okay, I need 3 numbers, and 3 numbers are sufficient for me to pin a number anywhere on a 2D screen. Of course, for 3D, it will be different. But it is this kind of thing, if you start thinking about it, where computational thinking, the stuff that you are learning relates to math. A lot of people say, I don't see it, but if you ask deeper question, that's what you see. Okay, all right.
Yeah, thanks for that. But I guess a lot of these questions that you have will be answered as you go through the course. Yeah.
Okay.
But this session is really just to kind of get you oriented a little bit. So when you start it, you have some sense of what to do.
Mhm. Okay. Cool.
Any other questions or comments about what you saw today?
Or any questions from the teachers? Maybe there were some teachers, right? Okay, or comments from the teachers.
Yeah, and just a reminder that we would like to have the teachers maybe stay back, just to so if you need help, like we can walk you through how to set up a class.
Okay, so if there are no questions from the students,
No.
remember we are just one email away. Yeah, and you can always make use of the optional consultation slots, right? To share with us your questions or your achievements, right? Yeah, we very much like to hear from you. Yeah, otherwise, that's it for the briefing for the students. Yeah, and thanks very much, and we really wish you a meaningful and fun learning experience. Yeah.
Yep. All Okay, so I think we can dismiss the students. Is that right?
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, feel free to leave the call, but for the teachers, if you need some help setting up the course, then please stay back. We can help you do that.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, so Calvin, I think since you already have the class set up, if you can just add me to your class as a mentor, I'll give you my username.
Who are the other teachers who are here?
Just now there was Mr. Mr. Neo Guang Xian from Guangyang. There's one currently in this meeting still. Miss Rainer Hua, but he's a secondary school student. Yes.
Oh, shall we?
Okay, no problem. I mean, if you want, you can. Sec 3 from Guangyang also. Yeah.
It's okay. We are not saying anything that's secretive. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah.
Or maybe he's a student, teacher assistant. Yes.
Teacher assistant here to represent the teacher.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but it looks like we don't have any other teachers who stay behind, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But Mr. Gee, were there other teachers that are like, how many other teachers have signed up, have registered?
Actually, a number of them sign up. On my list, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. But I think some of them sign up because they wanted to have access to the recording. Yeah, so that we can email them. Yeah.
Okay, sure. I mean, I can. Okay. I'm just trying to think like what would be the best way. I mean, I can create another recording just to show how to set up a teacher.
Okay.
course, maybe that will help.
I guess if maybe okay, of course it will be helpful for those who might not know that they can do some of these things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's not too much effort or time on your side, otherwise I think it's also good that we can leave a note at the website, and then they can just email us if they need help setting up. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So maybe we should just email the teachers who are.
Okay.
Yeah, just to see if they still want to do that, because we can also create the course for them and they can just.
Sure.
Yeah, but I just want to make sure that they haven't already created a course. If they already have, then they should add us. If they haven't, then we can add them. So.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, I'll stop the recording now.
Okay.